2 years ago, at the age of 17, after searching up on YouTube how to make money online, I found out about a man named Iman Gadzhi. And after binging his content for days on end and ultimately buying his $997 course, I started an SMMA, also known as a social media marketing agency. And after nearly half a year of grinding after school while barely running off of 4 hours of sleep, I was finally able to hit that golden 10K a month mark. And I'll be honest, it felt absolutely amazing. Now, keep in mind, I was still in high school at the time, so word got around quickly. And in all honesty, my aura went through the roof along with my ego. And I felt like an absolute king. The only problem was as the following months went by, that exponential growth slowed down fast. It became harder and harder to book appointments. And when I would finally get a prospect on Zoom, they were more skeptical and more burned than ever. I'd constantly be getting told I need to think about it or I need to talk with my wife, which we all know are complete BS smoke screens and just excuses to get off the call. And the funny thing is, this was all happening right after I had just paid $12,000 for a sales coaching program. And it got so bad to where there was a month where I literally took 40 live sales calls and only closed two people on payment plans. And that's really when it hit me. It wasn't my ads or my sales ability that was the problem. It was the fact that I was selling a commoditized offer. And unless you're in a super strange, untapped niche, then your prospects have been pitched and burned by a dozen other Facebook ad agencies before. And no matter how you frame it and try to make your system look unique, they see through all the BS and their Facebook ads PTSD gets triggered. And once I realized this, I knew I needed to do something different. And that, my friends, is when I pivoted from a commoditized Facebook ads agency to an AI agency. And in the first month that I made this pivot, I went from 0 to 30K cash collected with 90% profit margins. And in this video, I'm going to be dropping all the sauce on how I implemented AI into every aspect of my business, which allowed me to double the number of booked calls that I was getting while also increasing my close rate by 30%, taking it from 20% to a 50% live call to close rate in one of the most saturated and broke niches of real estate agents. And on top of that, I'll also be walking you through exactly how I license these AI sales teams to my clients to actually book more appointments for them on autopilot so they would get even better results and actually stick around for months and years to come. Now, the first aspect of my agency that I incorporated AI into is actually my marketing. And what I did specifically was I went from having offer focused marketing to an AIUM. Now, most of you are probably wondering, what is an AIUM? Very simply put, it is an AI focused unique mechanism. And I'll explain what this is. Now, when it comes to offer focused marketing, first things first, that is guarantees, and that's essentially leading with an offer, right? So whether it's an ad, whether it's a cold call, whatever your marketing is, when you lead with offers, right? Like, hey, I'll get you 20 patients in the next month guaranteed, or I'll refund you and throw in my left kidney and $1,000 for wasting your time, right? The big problem with this is, number one, it's commoditized. Number two, nobody believes it. And number three is it attracts bad prospects. Now, I'll explain this in a second here, but that is the big issue with offer focused marketing. First things first, right? It's super commoditized. Maybe if you did this in 2020, right, it might have been a different story. But now in 2025, going into 2026, everyone has seen the Hermosi offers and value equations and read $100 million offers and has a great killer offer with a risk reversal and all this stuff, right? But when everyone has a guarantee and a lot of these people with guarantees don't actually fulfill on their guarantee, that is what caused commoditization, to where they've seen it before. It's not unique. Oh, yeah, this is the 50th ad that I've seen that said this. Oh, yeah, you guys are the 20th company I've hopped on with. Or if you're cold calling, you've probably heard, oh, yeah, I get a bunch of calls like this, right? The only reason why you hear that is not because they get cold called a ton. It's because they get cold called a ton by people saying the same exact thing as you. So offers are commoditized. On top of that, because so many people do it now, and when the masses do something, especially when the masses aren't actually good at delivering a good service, that is where people get burned. And this is exactly why prospects will say, oh, I need to think about it. Oh, your competitor does it cheaper. Oh, I need to talk to my dog, right? It's because they're scared. They've been burned before. They don't believe you, right? And when they don't believe you, even if you have a great service, right? If they know that the past three guys that they've gone with and paid money to get them 20 clients guaranteed didn't get them a single client, and now they're burned, and you say, oh yeah, but it's guaranteed, right? You'll get a refund if I don't hit it. They don't believe it anymore. And then lastly is, and this is something that in all honesty not a lot of people talk about, but offer focused marketing attracts bad prospects. And what I mean by this, if you look at the upper echelons of business owners, right, they are not clicking on ads or responding to cold calls or getting on calls for killer sexy offers. Yes, I want everything guaranteed, right? Good business owners know that nothing's guaranteed, right? So what that actually means is offer focused marketing is going to attract prospects on the lower echelons of business, right? Who are either just not as experienced, not doing enough revenue, whatever it may be, because they need that offer. They need something that's guaranteed. They need something to save their business. Oh my goodness, 20 clients guaranteed, or I don't pay. I can't afford to pay for marketing. So that's good, right? This is also where you'll find a lot of prospects who say things like, oh, I don't want to pay anything up front, or I only want to pay after close, things like that, right? And if you've worked with realtors, contractors, you've probably heard that all the time, right? And that is because of offer focused marketing. Now, on the contrary, when you switch over to an AI unique mechanism, right? And what that simply means is instead of your marketing messaging focusing strictly on offers and guarantees, you're now talking about your system to get them their dream outcome. So you can still talk about their dream outcome of getting X amount of jobs a month or listings or patients, whatever that may be, right? You're still talking to that dream outcome, but instead of saying, oh, guaranteed or you don't pay, or I'll give you $1,000 for wasting your time, you're now talking about the system that's going to be used to get there. And when you justify, right, a claim with logic and a system that actually makes sense, that is where you are going to create, number one, a blue ocean where if your unique mechanism is actually unique, right, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard this before. And when you have prospects who haven't heard what you're talking about before, you're in a really, really good place, both on the marketing side of things and the sales side of things, right? You don't want to be grouped in with everyone else. So when it's actually unique, you create a blue ocean. On top of that, it logically makes sense. And what that means is that instead of nobody believing your offer or your claim or your marketing, right, when you can logically justify something, right, I can get you 3 listings in the next 6 months, right? Let's say you're a real estate agent with our AI XYZ system. And this is how it works, right? When you logically justify something, now not only are they drawn into your claim, but also they actually believe what you're saying, which causes a lot more trust on the sales call as well. And then lastly, this is going to attract great prospects. And that is because when you have a unique mechanism, people are booking calls with you and getting on a call because they're interested in your system, not your guarantee, not in the terms of the contract, not in the, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario, not in the, okay, well, will I get a refund in this scenario, this and that. That's not why they're booking with you. They are booking with you because they are genuinely interested to see how your system works, which can allow you to charge more. But on top of that, just deal with so much less BS on sales calls. And that's really the biggest thing that I noticed when I made this big marketing shift was that I wasn't getting as many objections. And most importantly, the objections that I would get were all logistical in regards to, hey, we need to find a way to make this work financially, not, oh, yeah, I got like 5 other calls with other businesses just like yours. Yeah, this is like, I've heard this maybe like 5 other times. I don't know. Yeah, can we just pay after close? Like, I stopped dealing with all of that when I made this shift. Now, the second aspect of my agency that I incorporated AI into was appointment setting. And this is, in all honesty, one of the biggest shifts and biggest levers that I pulled in order to hit 30K a month, because appointments are essentially the lifeblood of your business, right? Revenue obviously is, but revenue comes from clients and clients come from appointments. So the more appointments you can book, right, and the more efficiently you can book those appointments, especially if you're running ads, that will determine, number one, how much your agency is actually able to grow, but also how profitable you are. Once again, I hit 30K a month with 90% profit margins. And that was because we were milking the crap out of every dollar of ad spend and out of every single appointment that was booked. Now, in traditional SMMAs, right, you have appointment setters, you have like automations, and that's kind of really it, right? If you're running ads, you might have some appointment setters call your leads, and you might have some email, maybe SMS automations to book more appointments, right? And then you have some people who self-book. Big problem with this is, number one, appointment setters. These just, there's a million issues with appointment setters. Well, number one is they're costly, right? You have to train them up. You have to constantly manage them, manage their emotions, almost be like a therapist to them to keep them performing, keep them incentivized, especially if they're on a commission basis, which they should be. So there's aligned incentives. On top of that, you have to make sure they're hitting their KPIs. You have to make sure they're hitting speed to lead very quickly, continually following up if someone doesn't pick up the first time, all these different things. And these are all variables that are now affected by human tendencies, right? Human tendencies of, oh, my mom died. Oh, I'm tired. I'm hungry. I need to take a break. I have weekends, holidays, all this stuff, right? So appointment setters, there's a lot of issues with that. And secondly is automations. And in all honesty, I know small handful of agencies who actually utilize automations in the first place. But if you're in the top 20% of agencies who actually have decent automations and workflows to help streamline appointment booking and maximizing each lead that you get, then you probably have a combination of SMS and email. And despite the fact that having automations is better than not having automations, that's kind of really where things end. And what I mean by that is response rates on emails are very low. And over time, it definitely adds up. So it can be worth having. SMS, you definitely get better response rates. You can get better booking rates. But with basic automations, there's only so much that can be done because, and this is the key thing, if someone hasn't booked an appointment, right? They haven't booked an appointment. It's because there is an objection. My handwriting is getting very slanted right now, but it's because there's an unanswered objection. This is an objection that they haven't been able to verbalize to you, right? So if someone opts in to your lead form, into your landing page application, whatever it may be, and you send them to a booking page, or you send them an email with a booking page, or a text to your booking page, and they don't actually end up booking, it's because there's some subconscious objection that is holding them back. Maybe it's something in regards to pricing. Maybe it's they've been burned before. Maybe it's because they don't trust you. Whatever it is, that is what's preventing them from booking an appointment. Now, with emails, the great thing about emails is when you have an email sequence, let's say you have a 20 email nurturing sequence. In each of those emails, you can attack one objection, one limiting belief, an objection here, objection there, throw in some social proof. So over time, this can definitely help. But also, once again, it's like who's checking their emails that much? It's like open rates, and then you have reply rates and all that stuff. So that's the only problem with that. And with SMMS, there's no nuance. So you're really just blasting them, hey, remember to book your appointment. So that's the issue with that. Now, the great thing about AI is the fact that it is conversational. So how I implemented AI into my appointment setting process was essentially by utilizing AI sales teams. Fancy, right? And what I mean by AI sales teams is very simply put, it's a conglomerate of AI agents that each have their own individual purpose within a certain stage of the sales process. So I'll break this down for you with a couple agents that we had. Number one was a lead follow up agent. And this was one of our highest performing agents, which booked the most amount of appointments for us. And that's because this is essentially following up with every single lead who does not book an appointment via SMS. It could also do Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, if we were to use those channels, but mainly just SMS. And it would basically text every single lead as soon as they come through to book their appointment. And the great thing about this is the fact that it is able to actually conversate with them to book that appointment. So when a lead says, and I've found that roughly 60% of the time, when this would reach out to someone to book an appointment, they wouldn't just book instantly. They would have a question or objection or something, right? So now when they actually object to booking an appointment, this is able to handle the objection and answer FAQs. Right? So if they ask, "Hey, I'm a newer agent, that's why I didn't book. I didn't know if this could work for me." The AI agent, which is prompted on every aspect of both my business, my offer, who I serve, essentially just everything, it's able to now answer, oh, yeah, actually, we do work with newer agents. It actually will work for you. We actually worked with a newer agent. His name was this, and we were able to get him this result. And that's actually what these agents do. They will pull testimonials and case studies that I fed it, right, from our business and use it when handling objections and answering FAQs to where now it's super human like, right? It conversates very, very human like, and it is also able to be personalized in the conversation. And that's the biggest thing, right? People like connecting with people. People don't want to talk to automations. They don't want to talk to robots. And this AI that I use, and there's going to be a whole video breaking down the AI and all that. So just check out that video. I'll probably link it in the description. But the AI that we use, because of how human like it talks and because it's prompted on absolutely every aspect of our business, it is able to answer these FAQs and handle these objections in such a human like way while building so much rapport, while throwing in case studies, all this stuff to ultimately book that appointment. So that is a very, very, very important AI agent that we use. Now, on top of that, we have a couple other agents. Another one is a reschedule agent. And a no-show agent. Now, these two types of agents are some of the most powerful things that you can implement into your business if you want to maximize your profitability. And that is because you are probably missing out on roughly 50% of potential revenue due to no shows, reschedules, and cancellations. And if you don't believe me, just look at your show rate, right? How many appointments have you booked this past month and how many showed? The average agency show rate is anywhere between 50 to 60%. Great agencies will be like 75%, which is still losing out on 25% of revenue. And I know many agencies, even doing multi five figures, that are literally having 45% show rates, to where more than half of the people who they book calls with aren't showing up. Right. And there's a plethora of reasons why. One of the biggest things is the marketing. So having unique mechanism focused marketing does definitely help with show rate. But aside from that, a lot of people will just have things come up in life, right? Hey, my son's soccer game came out of nowhere. My mom got hospitalized. My calf got stuck in the fence. And yes, that was an actual conversation I had with a lead. They sent a picture of a cow stuck in a fence. So, a bunch of reasons why people no show. And the big problem is that most agencies usually have no follow up for no shows, right? Or people who say, hey, I have to cancel. Hey, something came up. I have to reschedule. I was literally on a coaching call with one of my private clients the other day, and we were in his Go High level, and I saw a message. I'm like, wait, click there again. And it was from 12 hours ago, a lead who said, hey, by the way, I have to cancel my appointment. Something came up. And my student, he never saw that message. It went completely under his radar. And if I wasn't there to catch that right there, it probably would have just been a lost opportunity that could have been a multi-thousand-dollar client. And that is the big aha moment that you need to realize, is the fact that all these people who cancel here, cancel there, or the 50% of people who are no showing your calls, if you could now have an AI agent that will personally reach out to them ASAP, and not just reach out initially, but follow up hours later, days later, weeks later, months later, consistently, every single time, conversate with them, walk them through the rebooking process without you actually having to take the time or mental bandwidth to try to remember or keep track of hundreds of leads as you're scaling. How valuable would that be? Very. And that is why a reschedule agent and no-show agent were two of the most valuable aspects of the AI sales team that we implemented. And by implementing both the reschedule agent, no-show agent, and the appointment setting agent, we were able to book so much more appointments. It is absolutely insane. And most importantly, maximize our ad spend, because we're already paying for these appointments. Meaning that if someone cancels, no shows, or needs to reschedule, we've already paid for that person. So instead of just, oh yeah, book more appointments, it's like, let's get these people back on the calendar, right? And we closed thousands, tens of thousands of dollars from people who normally, if we didn't have AI agents, would have just fallen through the cracks and slipped through the cracks due to no-shows and reschedules. And the next place I implemented AI within my agency was within my sales process and offer. And this is one of the highest leverage things that you can do, because once again, you've already paid for this appointment. If you get someone to show up to an appointment, right, you've already paid for them to be there. If you can close 50% of people versus 25% of people, then you're not just doubling your sales, you're also doubling your bottom line profit, right? And that's actually what I did. I took my close rate from around 20, 25% to 50%. And keep in mind, this is live call to close rate. This is calls that I got on and calls that close, not qualified close rate, none of these woo-wah sales manipulating metrics. I mean, if I got on the call with 10 people, we literally closed 5 out of 10. So how did I do this? There was two main aspects to this. Number one was the actual offer itself. And the offer, we did something that not a lot of gurus talk about. And in all honesty, most will actually deter you from actually doing. And that is a mid ticket plus SaaS offer. Now, if you've been in the agency space for a while, then you probably know all the gurus say go higher ticket, super up market, just provide more value, do more done for you, this, that, right? I actually did the opposite. I went done with you, mid ticket SaaS. So I'll break this all down right here on what this all means. First things first, done with you, right? DWY. This is done with you. This means that I was not doing done for you work in the sense that I wasn't managing ads and setting up this and then clicking around in A2P and all these different things, right? I wasn't the one actually hands-on delivering the service. I would help the client essentially set up the system and run the system via group coaching calls and via course content, but I wasn't the one actually doing it. Now, you might be asking, James, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just do it for them so that you can charge more and go high ticket instead of mid ticket? And the reason was scale, right? Scale. One of the biggest problems that I ran into running my agency, and keep in mind, I've been doing this for a couple years at this point, so I'm practically unk at this point, um, was something called fulfillment drag. And what fulfillment drag is when you sign on too many clients to where it hinders your ability to sign on more clients due to capacity and attention, right? Your focus shifts from sales and marketing to, oh my goodness, I got all these clients that I set very high expectations for, that I charged a bunch of money to, that they're expecting the world, that I need to now fulfill for, and all this stuff, to where you now pause marketing, pause sales, and just focus on client stuff. And what happens when you do that? The business stalls. So when I went the mid ticket route, and by mid ticket, by the way, I'm talking about a 2K to 2.5K price point. This is how much I charged, 2K to 2.5K. In the beginning of the month, I started a little bit under 2K. And then by the end of the month, we were selling at 2.5K. Our close rate did not change whatsoever. We stayed at that 50%. But that said, right, instead of charging 6K or 8K or this and that, right? And keep in mind, there's still a time and place for that. And niche is also a big aspect of that. And there's a couple other factors that go into that. But this, especially in the real estate space, I found was a sweet spot for two main reasons. Number one, it was low enough to where their expectations were low, and not low in the sense that we're delivering a bad service or bad product, but they weren't done for you expectations and they weren't through the roof. And if you've run an agency for a while now, you've probably had some clients who their expectations, they'll pay you $1,000 and they think you owe them the world. They'll just be hitting you up 3 a.m., whatever. Hey, I saw my ad, my cost per lead is too high. Hey, is this ready yet? Hey, I don't like the font on this, and I need a new website, and all this crazy like stuff is like, bro, just chill out. But that's what will happen when you charge very high ticket. Now, keep in mind, there is a time and place for that where charging high ticket and providing a lot of value for that, it does have its benefits, but I wanted scale. And I wanted scale without operational drag. And that was from done with you work, right? So instead of me having to hands on click around in the ads manager, I have 2 1 hour, 90-minute coaching calls a week and a course that they go through in order for them to utilize the system. And since they only paid 2K to 2.5K, number one, it's very easy to ROI. That is the biggest thing when it comes to a service. Your service does not need to make them $1 million, right? If you want to charge 100 grand for something, sure. But if you can make someone an extra 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, and you charge them 2K for that, that's an amazing return. And for a real estate agent, that's only a couple deals within the year. So That said, this price point was huge, both from a pricing perspective on the closing side. It's very easy to close someone, also because we're able to leverage financing. And I'll talk about this in a second because that was a big aspect. But the other thing outside of the close rate boost is also their expectations are lower in the sense that they're not going to be bombarding you. They're not going to be asking for a refund because you didn't make them $1 million in the first month. All of that stuff, their expectations are lower and it's easier to close them. Now, touching on the aspect of financing, this is a huge one. I'm about to put y'all on to some crazy game. So make sure to subscribe and like right now. And that's because even if you don't have access to traditional financing partners on your payment processor, so if you use Stripe, WAP, Afterpay, Fanbasis, all these different things, a lot of them will have financing partners like Affirm, Klarna, et cetera, et cetera. The issue is most agencies or coaches or people in the online service space, like they're not eligible for these financing partners. I know very few people who have access to a firm within their Stripe. However, there is a workaround, and that is financing through Apple Pay. Apple Pay. If you have Apple Pay, which almost every payment processor does, and if a prospect has an iPhone, you can essentially get them to apply for things like Affirm or Klarna through Apple Pay without it being enabled on your payment processor, without the actual financing partner being enabled. So, long story short, you can watch a YouTube video on this, GPT it, but I'll give you the quick rundown on how to do this. You have your payment link. So let's say it's for $2,000. You send it to the prospect. They open it on their iPhone. They click the Apple Pay button. And then where it says select other cards, right? Because it'll default select the default card. Where it says select other card and payment options, that is where, if they click on that, at the bottom, if you're in like the US, there will be a button for Affirm and Klarna. So even if you don't have Stripe enabled or Affirm enabled on your Stripe, the client can still use Affirm through Apple Pay. And what this allows for is them to get started with $0 down, meaning they don't have to pay a dime out of pocket up front. And it could be broken up into like $80 a month, $130 a month, whatever it comes out to, usually no more than $200 a month. It now breaks up that multi-$1,000 payment into like the price of a nice dinner, which is absolutely crazy. This literally could be attributed to probably 70% of our sales. I wish I had the exact number, but most people that we got on a sales call with, especially because, once again, working with real estate agents, they're not the most financially well-off prospects. Just ripping financing through Apple Pay, specifically Affirm, the approval rates are so high to where a prospect could be like, yeah, I am super broke. I want to do it. I think I could succeed with your program, but I can't afford it. Cool. We can do Affirm. It'll be $0 out of your pocket today. You can get started for nothing, and then it'll come out to like $130 a month. Could you stomach $130 a month in 30 days if it was $0 down today to get started with our program? And once again, assuming you have a good product, right? You always want to be selling a good product and actually be able to get them a result and ROI. Don't be scamming people. But if you have a decent product, then that should be a no-brainer. And that right there alone could boost your close rate by 15, even 20% instantly. But the second aspect of the sales and offer that really, really helped increase our close rate was the AI pitch. And very simply put, what I mean by AI pitch is instead of pitching them on, yeah, we're going to run Facebook ads for you, and it's this Facebook ad system and this go high level snapshot that every single realtor, contractor, med spa, every business has seen by now. Like, once again, this has been like the agency space has gotten so saturated, especially in these past couple of years, to where everyone's seeing Facebook ads. No matter how you spin it, no matter what type of fancy way you want to like fanoozle your way around, yeah, Facebook ads, and we have like this system and that system. It's like, oh, you do Facebook ads? Oh, yeah, I've tried 20 companies that do Facebook ads, and I've been burned by all of them. None of them work, right? And even if yours works, right? Obviously, once again, sell a good product, get something that works. I was able to build within the real estate niche a very, very dialed system by using Facebook ads. I was able to actually get really high quality leads and amazing results for clients. But when I was selling that and trying to convey that, all their baggage from all these other companies would come up in the sales call. And that would hinder me from getting a deal, despite the fact that I have a really dialed product. But when I started pitching AI and the messaging was all around AI and AI focused, and very similar to how I explained to you, like the AI sales teams and how that worked, and then the marketing and how leveraging AI within the marketing, all that stuff. I essentially did the same thing with a client, with a real estate agent, and I would show them, yeah, we would generate leads, right? We would generate highly qualified leads by using AI to make ads. We would use things like VO3, right? AI image gen, video gen, all this stuff. So we would use AI, and then from there, we would have our AI sales agents and AI sales team qualify the leads, book appointments with the leads, continuously follow up, have amazing speed to lead, all this stuff. And I would actually show them the platform. And once again, I have videos breaking down the exact platform, the exact AI agents, and actually you can steal the exact AI sales team that I use for both myself and my clients. So check that out in the description somewhere. But that said, by actually showing them, number one, the platform, and also focusing on the AI, it just blew their mind. They're like, wow, this is crazy, right? I know I need to be using AI. Every business owner knows they need to be using AI, but none of them know how. And everything online is all fluff. Like it's like you get such little actual tactical like AI knowledge nowadays. It's all just fluff or N8N or GPT wrappers or this and that, to where it's just like it's so much, there's so much noise, right? When you can show a prospect on a sales call a clear path from where they are and where they want to get to by utilizing your AI vehicle that is unique, they will, not only because AI is shiny, but also because you're now in a one of one niche, you're in a blue ocean, they will have no choice but to buy. Now, the last but definitely not least aspect that I implemented AI within my agency was in my fulfillment. Now, when it comes to fulfillment or service delivery for clients, there is a key aspect that a lot of agency owners do not understand. And that is the fact that clients with leads, or local businesses specifically with leads, are like giving a supercomputer to a toddler, right? They could be gold, they could have gold in their hands, tens of thousands of dollars at their fingertips, but they don't know how to actually convert that into cash, right? And if you've worked with any sort of local business before and you do lead gen, then you know what I'm talking about, in the sense that they don't call their leads, they don't follow up, they blame lead quality, they only want laydowns, they're used to referrals. All these different things cause them to where if you give them leads, basically they get no results. And that's not because of the leads. And that's the key thing. It's not the leads. You probably have a pretty good lead gen system. You probably know what you're doing when it comes to marketing and running ads for these businesses, but it's not the leads. It is the appointment setting, right? And that is where AI comes into play, because when you have AI sales teams that can essentially follow up with these clients' leads, that causes or allows them to book appointments. Now that's a whole different story. And when you use AI sales teams to book leads into appointments, that is what causes not just good client results, but ultimately lower churn, higher retention, higher LTV, and just happier clients. And when you can do this without, and this is a key thing, without human variance in the sense of building out a call center, hiring ISAs, trying to train their receptionist, like all these different things. When you can now book appointments for clients on autopilot with AI sales teams and AI agents, once again, for every part of the sales process or of the client sales process, from booking to no shows to confirmations to rescheduling to this and that is where your client results will shoot through the roof, to where with the same exact leads that you were booking before, you're now able to book so many appointments, and most importantly, qualified appointments. Since these AI sales agents, right, they're not dummies, they can actually qualify and conversate with the leads, to where now you're able to book them qualified appointments. And with local businesses, or at least if you're working with any sort of high ticket niche, in the sense that they sell something over like $1,000. So let's say a roofing contractor, right? Roofs are, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000, $8,000. A pool contractor, $50,000 jobs. Uh, Real estate agents, 10K, 15K average order value or average deal size. When you're working with these types of businesses, they just need one conversion a month, or depending on how much you charge, it might be every week, whatever it is, but they need a small handful of conversions in order to be wildly profitable and stick around. Even if you charge $3,000 a month plus $2K a month in ad spend, right? Which you might be like, oh, that's so much, $5,000 a month. If you could book someone 20 appointments, 50 appointments, whatever that number is, right? 10 appointments, and they closed 2 deals for 15K. Well, they paid you 5K in total. That's ad spend. I guess they didn't pay you, but like ad spend and paying you 3,000 a month, 5K in total to your, let's say, agency and agency expenses. They just made 30 grand. That is a amazing return, right? And that will justify keeping you around for a long time. Now, once again, touching back on the offers section of this, I believe in a different type of pricing model, or at least that's the route that I chose to go down. But I also know some AI agencies who go down the route of charging very high ticket. But no matter what you charge, right, it could be $100 a month. If you charge $100 a month and you're not providing that much value, then they're not going to keep you around for any amount, whether it's $100, whether it's $1,000, whether it's $10,000. And I do know agencies who genuinely have clients who pay them $10,000 a month. And that is from providing an immense amount of value. And that comes with handling as much of the sales process as possible. All in all, just to sum things up, the key thing I want you to take away from this video is the importance and emphasis on AI right now. We are in such a crazy gold rush time where AI is so valuable. Clients know it's valuable, but there's such a big gap in regards to who's actually capitalizing it, both on the marketing and sales side and also on the fulfillment side. So when you can go and take AI and implement it into your marketing, your messaging, your appointment setting process, your sales process, your offer, and also your fulfillment and service delivery for clients, you will be able to take your agency to a whole nother level. So with that being said, I hope you got value from this video. If you did, drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. And make sure to check out the next video in the description going over the exact AI sales teams and AI agents that I used within my agency. But that said, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.